we got like this photo essay from our colleague who's in Ayodhya. And she said that basically throughout the city, it's posters of Modi and Yogi. There are fewer posters of Ram than of Yogi and Modi.
The opposition or the Congress has not, in the last few decades, worked on a cultural response to all that the BJP has been throwing at them.
I mean, and I hate to say it, but Tavleen Singh is right in that the BJP has managed to touch that chord in making this that emotional sort of issue. It's why Farooq Abdullah, I think, is going on about Mere Ram and all, which...
I remember P.V. Narasimha Rao in a book, he had told another colleague of him that he wanted to kill this issue once for all by granting them the temple, the
turning
BJP.
it into a Vatican city of sorts.
See, in 1919, when Gandhi is trying to displace Annie Besant as the president of the Congress Party, the kind of things that he's saying is so, completely, shocking that Annie Besant actually calls him the exact things that we today call Modi.
And it's so fascinating that the right-wing trolls are pointing at how Brahminical and casteist some of the Shankaracharyas have been.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like, wow.
The Congress can work only if it imagines itself leading a certain kind of permanent coalition in India. I think the single party thing is gone.
Welcome to Chota Hafta. Now, Chota Hafta is but a small, Chota version of a complete weekly podcast, Newslaundry Hafta. The Newslaundry Hafta is where you get the week's news, what made the headlines, what didn't make the headlines, but the full version is available to subscribers only. And I don't mean YouTube subscribers, although YouTube subscribers are also very welcome, very, very grateful to you, but also to Newslaundry subscribers, the paying subscribers who pay to keep news free. So you can also become a paying subscriber by clicking the subscription link. Now, what do you get if you're a paying subscriber? You get access to all our paywall content, all interviews, podcasts, and importantly, you get access to a full unedited Hafta, where you not only get to hear the week's news, but you get to hear the Newslaundry editors' positions on matters. You get to see their biases, what are their prejudices. It's an exercise in transparency while also informing you, and we have a few quips and jokes and agreements and disagreements thrown in. So listen to the full Hafta, subscribe to Newslaundry, and pay to keep news free. Here we go.
अंग्रेज अपना लगान और न्यूज लॉन्ड्री अपना हफ्ता कभी नहीं छोड़ते. I'm your host Manisha Pande. Abhinandan is not here this week because he's in Vadodara at a college festival where he's talking about journalism, representing Newslaundry and talking about all the amazing work that we do. I'm alone in the studio this week, sadly, because Raman sir is in Bombay. Hi, Raman sir.
Hi.
Hello from Bombay. And we have Jayashree who's joining us from Chennai.
Hello, hello.
And we have our guest Sugata who's joining us from Bangalore.
Hello, Manisha.
Sugata is an award-winning journalist. He's also the co-founder and vice chairman of Sunoscapes Radio Foundation. He's been editor-in-chief with the Times Group publication. He also has a column with the Times of India. And his most recent book was on the Congress, right?
Right, Rahul Gandhi. So it's great to have you here because we can talk about the Nyaya Yatra that he's gone off on again. So it'll be good to get your views on that. We're going to have another journalist also join us in a bit to talk about climate change. Before we get into the headlines of this week, I just want to tell our audience that we're recording this from Delhi. I'm in Delhi in the studio and it's been freezing, absolutely freezing for the past few days. We've had a cold wave grip all of North India. And I really urge our viewers to watch this little video report that we had done on a Good Samaritan in Delhi who's been going around distributing blankets. And according to him, he's spotted close to 27 dead bodies this winter, people who've died of the cold. So do watch this.
इंसान है सर. इधर पहले भाई ये जरूरी है पहले. और दो बाबा ठीक है ये लो. ज़्यादा ठंड लग रही है. ज़्यादा ठंड है, हैं? ठंड ज़्यादा लग रही है, नहीं चलेगा. वैसे करो, मर जाए नहीं ठंड में ऐसे. सर उड़ा दो फटाफट. नहीं बंदा रख दो वही भाई. नहीं मर जाएगा ठंड में अभी. इस 15 नवंबर से 23 दिसंबर तक 27 डेड बॉडी मैंने उठाई. यस, इस साल की बात है. 60-70 डेड बॉडी मैं हर विंटर में उठाता हूँ.
if you turn on the television news channels, you will not hear anything about this. All you get to hear and see and watch is Ram Mandir. We have been able to do such reporting because we are supported by you guys. So please do consider subscribing to Newslaundry. Let's start with Sugata actually. There's nothing else that's being discussed except for the Ram Temple inauguration. It's really kind of taken over. As writers, observers, journalists, how are you assessing the impact of this inauguration and people around you?
What I'm really seeing is the universalization of Ram. And that universalization is not happening only because the BJP is pushing it. It's also happening because the opposition is reacting in a certain way. They may not have accepted the invitation to attend the consecration of the Ram Temple on the 22nd of January. But look at what they have been saying otherwise. They've been saying Ram belongs to everybody. And therefore, he is not the property of the establishment. Right? So by saying that repeatedly, and all these senior leaders of the Congress, Rahul Gandhi may not have made this statement, and Kharge may not have made this statement. But if you look at what Digvijay Singh has been saying, or his brother has been saying, or if you just look at the Karnataka government, the chief minister here as supposedly a socialist chief minister, asking for special pujas to be done in 34,000 temples governed by the state government on the 22nd. See, I just heard Jayashree give out the headlines. There was GDP figures, there was inflation figures and all that.
Unemployment
and all that is real. But then the thing is that you have an opponent who is trying to put the large thing on the table, which is the civilizational thing. And you're responding to that with something very lame as economy. Culture always trumps economy.
And also, I think ultimately you have to sell an idea to your voters. And it's not as if hard issues don't always, resonate. For example, in Delhi, at least one can say that AAP has been successful in driving home this idea of we are a government that's going to take care of schooling for your children and for healthcare. And lots of celebration in Delhi too over the Ram Temple, but that hasn't overshadowed AAP's USP as this party. We'll know what happens in the elections. But there's a response. There's a counter idea that they're selling very effectively. And ultimately, it is about politics. Politicians being able to sell something or the other as an idea.
So the wedding he attended was, Suresh Gopi is a Malayalam actor. He is also a former BJP MP. So Modi went for Suresh Gopi's daughter's wedding, which I think took place in Guruvayur. So therefore, big temple, great setting. And it was attended by a host of superstars, and not all of whom are BJP sympathetic. For example, Mammootty and all were there, and they are certainly not sympathetic to the BJP. But there was full media coverage because this was this really big superstar cinematic event. So he got a lot of traction. Most Malayalam news channels yesterday were showing images of Modi blessing Suresh Gopi's son or the daughter, blessing the happy couple. So it's a very smart way for him to sort of got himself in the news.
Congress, even if they had some stand, I'm a little cynical here, but that stand would have got lost in this cacophony when the entire state operators is behind this temple. When three-fourth, your entire mainstream media is also helping, Modi in, spreading the message. So I think, any opposition voice would have done very, very little in this. I think if you see, it's not just this preparation was done keeping in mind the 2024 election much in advance. And
it is very much a political move. The fact that you're inaugurating it 3 months before, when it's not even complete, is obviously for the 2024 elections. I think everyone's okay with the Ram Temple. I think today there's very few people, even if people are not, there may be a section of people who are, understand the history of it, may not be very happy of, religion and politics mixing the way it is. But I don't think anyone in India is repulsed by the idea of the Ram Temple coming up. I think most people are pretty happy or accept it or think that the time had to come. But yeah, I think it is a failure of political communication to not be able to kind of put this out, because this is glaring you in the face.
The most devastating thing, or the most stupid thing, let me sort of, call it bluntly, is, we have been speaking about the Shankaracharyas not going.
Yeah.
Now, look at that a little closely. If the Shankaracharyas are not going, and they're telling you that, the script, this is not being done, it's not adhering to scriptural kind of yardstick, and therefore we are not going. And the temple is incomplete, and therefore we are not going. And it's not being done as per the scriptures. Then, what is the message that sends out to the larger audience? Where 80-90% of India has no entry into the sanctum sanctorum.
Yeah.
So Modi is very happy if the Shankaracharyas don't go there, and he's very happy. I think he should be very happy that they're not going and they're raising these questions. And stupidly, a lot of congressmen, at least their spokespersons and their trolls on social media, are hiding behind the fact that the Shankaracharyas are not going. But then what happens to your constitutionalism? That's the contradiction.
For me, that's my thing. Instead of doing all that, they have this second phase of this yatra. And one thing I will say, though, is that Rahul Gandhi, out of all the times that you see him like speaking and attending events and trying to talk on stuff, it is the yatra where he genuinely looks like, happy and comfortable walking,
With people,
talking to people,
yeah.
some validation he's getting from the public, So it's like a slightly self-indulgent campaign tactic, but no harm. But to imagine that it'll materially change things seems a little bit delusional.
And we have our second guest with us, Rishika Pardikar. Hi, Rishika. Thank you so much for joining us. So Rishika is a freelance reporter. Her areas of focus are wildlife conservation and climate change. Her work is primarily investigative and analytical, and it's appeared in digital outlets like Mugabe, Foreign Policy, The Daily Poster, Third Pole, Wire Science, Article 14, and AGU's EOS. Okay, so the one thing that we wanted to discuss this week was actually, we've been seeing a lot of headlines on no snow in Gulmarg. Of course, the tourists are very unhappy. But there's also been scant snow in other Himalayan regions. So we wanted to understand what kind of impact this would have on farmers, on livelihoods, Himalayan ecologies, and why is this happening?
Let's tackle the why first. So the reason we get snowfall, we meaning states like Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, the reason they get snowfall and rain during this time is because of something called western disturbance. So these are basically winds which carry moisture from seas in the Middle East, like the Black Sea, the Caspian Sea, Mediterranean Sea. These winds bring moisture from there and they disperse it all over, like Pakistan, North India. And this shows up here as rainfall, as snowfall. And this time there has been a heavy snowfall deficit and also a rain deficit in all of these regions. The why is also linked to climate change because there have been some studies which have shown that as we move closer in, as we move more into this new world we are living in, at 1.3 or 1.4 degree warmer than before, western disturbances will decrease both in intensity and in frequency. So when this decreases, it means lesser snowfall and lesser rain for all of the people who are living in these Himalayan states in the winter.
So precarious times.
But also most mainstream media, I guess, covering something like this, the entire peg is only, or the usual phrasing for it would be tourists are disappointed.
Yeah, which is the last thing that
people can't go skiing.
About. Yeah, like
tourists, they'll have some anodyne quotes from someone who's gone from Delhi saying,
it's important for the local economy, but it's really in the larger scheme of things, it's kind of more people are impacted by it.
I moved to Uttarakhand in mid of May. So I've been living there. And initially I was in a village outskirts of Dehradun. It is above Rajpur Road.
Oh, wow.
So there I have seen many houses which have small streams of springs coming just in their backyard. At least they had them. Some have dried up, but some had them. And whoever had them, they were managing their small-scale agriculture with these springs. But when I was talking to them, they were telling me that of late, in the last few years, they've had to get water tankers because the springs are just not as reliable as they were before. And people who could afford to have rainwater harvesting, they were building these rainwater harvesting structures because it's again an expensive thing. Not everyone can afford to build rainwater harvesting. And not everyone can afford water tankers also.
Bas, muft mein itna ich milega. For the full uncut podcast, subscribe to Newslaundry and pay to keep news free. The best way to listen to the Hafta and indeed all our podcasts is through the Newslaundry app. You can download the app by clicking on the links given in the show notes. So do download our app and get the best podcast experience. And also pay for news and support a new news media ecosystem that Newslaundry is trying to encourage, where we are accountable to you because we run on contributions that you make. We don't take government ads, we don't take corporations ads, so that news serves the public, because when the public pays, the public is served. Subscribe to Newslaundry, click on the link in the show notes below and proudly say, I pay to keep news free.